You're around the clubhouse every single day, and you've been around clubhouses for a long time. And the vibe, I'm not around there clearly as much as I used to be, but the vibe at this time of year around a clubhouse, it's just different, isn't it, with the trade deadline on us?
Yeah, it's tense. Tense in the sense that there's the sense of unknown. It's not tense in preparation. It's not tense in interactions with the players. It's not tense from what I can tell amongst the players and coaching staff themselves. But look, let's face it, there's a great sense of unease because the next 48 hours, there's a very good possibility that this is going to be a dramatically looking team when we take on the San Diego Padres on August the 1st. And that's a product of what we've seen in the month of July. It was hoped that in July, and certainly coming out of the All-Star break, that the Cardinals were going to really make a push and really solidify their positioning as not just a wild card contender, but maybe a divisional contender. That hasn't happened. The ERA for the staff in the month of July is over 7. They haven't pitched well. I think they've gotten 2 quality starts this month. The offense has cratered in some ways. Offensively, it's a team that if they fall behind, they don't slug a lot, so it's difficult to come back. And that's why you've got a, 8-16 record in the month of July, which pretty much seals the fate as to whether or not the Cardinals are going to be buyers or sellers at the deadline. So that's where we are. I think it's now a matter, guys, of preparing to face the Marlins, try to win a series, and then whatever dominoes fall, you deal with them and adjust and push forward and try to get this ship turned around sooner rather than later.
I know that starting pitching obviously has been struggling. We've been talking today a lot about Sonny Gray, but I do want to go back to, the game 1 against the Marlins, because Andre Pallante, who had been struggling, had a fantastic start. And, for a guy like him who's pushing already his career high in innings and things like that, what did you see from him in a late July start where the heat was also pretty bad on Monday night? What did you see from him kind of bouncing back?
Well, it's funny. We talked with Ali about that after his start yesterday, and he said what's funny about baseball and why you either love it or hate it, depending on your perspective and maybe what your job is. If you look at the metrics at what Andre Pallante did against the Rockies, where he got bombarded, and what he did against the Marlins, where he pitched a near no-hitter over 7 innings, the results were almost exactly the same. He landed fewer breaking balls. He landed fewer sliders. The bottom line for Pallante and so many of the Cardinals starters is very simple. It's not so much the stuff. It's not so much the heat. It's whether or not the ball gets hit at people. And if it does, they have a chance to have a very good day. That was the difference for Pallante in Colorado. He couldn't throw his breaking stuff, which is expected. And the balls that were put in play hard and out of reach of our defenders. In his start against the Marlins, there were some hard hit balls. He was able to throw his slider. He was able to land his breaking ball a little bit better, but they were at him balls. And when they're at people, Pallante and Miles Mikolas are usually very successful. When they don't, because of the dearth of swing and miss stuff for this group collectively, that's where you run into problems. And I think that's why this team has sort of bounced from wall to wall, walking down the hallway as to what are they? What is this staff? What is this team? We don't know, because the randomness of baseball is what really happens more often than not with regards to what to expect with the Cardinals pitching staff.
Chip, I was playing golf with a buddy the other day who was telling me how bad Jordan Walker is in right field. And I said, I think there's probably a little bit of confirmation bias there. I think you're probably thinking of the 2023 Walker. And I'm not saying Jordan Walker is Roberto Clemente out there in right field. But, and last night there were, 3 balls in a row that came right to him and were not within his reach. I think that Jordan Walker is very capable of being an average or above average right fielder. What have you seen in terms of his defensive growth?
Yeah, I think his jumps are better. I think his confidence is better. I think his knowledge of the intricacies of playing the position are a lot better. There's a lot less, how do I say this the right way? There's a lot less thinking and more reacting and letting baseball skills take over. And you guys have been around the game a long time. If you're thinking, you're already a step behind. Look, the times we play at Busch Stadium, that's a tough field. The Sun Field's very, very difficult for Jordan Walker. Heck, it is in every major league park, and that's all part of the learning curve. But from a defensive standpoint, remember, there were times this year earlier when Jordan was brought in as a defensive replacement, not taken out of the game. Is he going to win a Gold Glove this year? Absolutely not. But is he a lot better than he was when he first started playing the outfield? There's no question. And I think that confidence translates to what he's doing at the plate and his overall body of work that we've seen since the All-Star break. It's trending in the right direction. The question is, can Jordan continue to do that over the final 2 months and give us a much better idea of where he's going, what he is, and quite frankly, what he's not?
And by the way, the bullpen has been great, but if I'm looking ahead with this organization right now, the one thing that I feel really good about is the defense up the middle with Pages, Wynn, Donovan, Scott. I think that's a group that defensively you can win at a high level with.
Yeah, they catch the ball. I mean, that's really been the story for the Cardinals. And with this pitching staff, again, pitch contact, it's simple. You got to catch the ball. And St. Louis has done that. I think Mason's made 2 errors. I think Donovan's made maybe 3, and we've got 50 some odd games left in the season. I mean, that's remarkable defensive production. Victor Scott, like Jordan Walker, his jumps, his knowledge of when to really turn on the afterburners. If he does get a late leap on a ball, he can track it down in the outfield. You're almost surprised, quite frankly, when the balls hit to center that Victor doesn't catch it, which I think is the greatest compliment of all. Yeah, and that's why the Cardinals the other night with Palante, he's a ground ball pitcher. That's why you can play Ivan Herrera in the outfield, because you're betting that there will be more balls on the infield than there will be hit to left against him. And Ali was proven right, and Herrera handled his first chance. So you're right. For the Cardinals right now to maintain this pace and be around 500 and try to finish over 500, it's got to start defensively, number one. That's been a focus from spring training, and I think you're right. This is a really, really fun defensive team to watch. They can pick it with anybody, and if they keep doing that, they at least will give themselves a chance.
When you talk about a guy like Victor Scott II, have you seen an outfielder in all your stops that has that much of a margin for error to be able to take 1 or 2 steps the wrong way and still make almost every play, it seems?
Well, I mean, there were different players, but maybe Andrew Jones and Ken Griffey, but they were bigger guys. They weren't burners like Victor was. Andrew Jones played very, very shallowly in center and loved to go back on the ball. He knew how to come in on the ball and dive. He always seemed to be able to get to where he needed to go, even though as he got older and his body got bigger. Griffey was a little more lithe and taller than Victor Scott, certainly not as fast, but just as prone to the acrobatic plays. And of course, Junior was a 500, 600 home run capable hitter and a Hall of Famer. But for Victor, I think it's just understanding what his game is. He's going to be a defense first center fielder, and he should be. His game is get the ball on the ground, hit line drives when they pinch in at the corners, try to use those angles to line the ball the other way. And in recent days, he's done a much better job of being patient at the plate. Remember, he went through that awful stretch where anything with a curve in it, he was swinging and missing. He's starting to take those pitches now. He's starting to make the pitchers work, and he's daring them to throw 3 pitches for strikes. And more often than not in this era, they can't do it. And as Ollie has said, there's nothing more exciting than seeing Victor Scott on a base anywhere for the Cardinals. If he can do that, that's a wonderful, wonderful threat hitting ninth.
Hey, Chip, Ryan Helsley is on record as saying he thinks it's a 90% chance that he'll be traded. I think we can all agree that Maton probably will go too. And the Cardinals have some guys that they can try to get that 27th out. I'm intrigued by Granillo. I'm intrigued by Graceffo, Riley O'Brien. I think if they bring back Fernandez, is there anybody that's caught your eye in the 9th inning so far? Because Granillo has finished games. Obviously, Graceffo had his first major league save was cool. Is there anybody from a stuff standpoint that intrigues you as a potential closer?
Well, right now, assuming they don't trade him, and he probably has as much value as anybody, would be JoJo Romero.
Yeah.
I love left-handed closers. I always have. I think it is such a game changer late in the game, although in our sport with the DH now, you don't pinch hit as much. But if you get the right lane and you've got a lefty closer in, and you can go get Barry Bonds, and you can make Chipper Jones hit right-handed, and you can you can take away guys like Larry Walker, that it really gives you a leg up in the 9th inning. But yeah, all of those guys have stuff. And I think that's going to sort of dovetail into what we've talked about pretty much all season long. The strength of the Cardinals team, besides their defense, has been their bullpen. They've been lights out. They've been really, really good. And if they trade all of those guys, and again, I would be surprised, quite frankly, if they don't, it's going to be an audition time for all of these guys to see what they can do. And I think we have to be encouraged by the fact that in many cases, with Riley O'Brien, with Matt Swanson, Fernandez at times, even Roycroft, who's got a great arm but is still learning how to pitch, that these guys really haven't stumbled and tripped over their own 2 feet making their way to the mound. So that's going to be the fun of what we see over the next couple of months. This is still a build year for the Cardinals as they try to revamp the farm system and get things straightened out up here at the major leagues. The only way to do that is to give guys a chance up here.
And they've given guys a lot of chances, the position players. Maybe Walker needs more time to convince them. I think we know that Victor Scott is on an upward trajectory. I think we know about the left fielders. We pretty much know at this stage of Newbar's career. We kind of have an idea about Burleson, Wynn, Donovan. Is there a position player that you think hasn't been provided the runway yet, that needs more time to show what they are?
I think you could flip a coin to Nolan Gorman, and that's somewhat not his own fault, right? He's been hurt, back problems for 25-year-olds. That's never a good thing, right? He's been blocked by Nolan Arenado, who exercised his no trade clause. And again, if he somehow is traded before 5 o'clock tomorrow, that would certainly change the calculus for the Cardinals. But I think Ollie and his staff have done a really, really good job of giving guys opportunities. And look, there's no roster that's perfect, but this is as imperfect a roster as we've seen in a while here with the Cardinals. We have multiple redundancies at multiple positions, and that really gives the manager and the front office, quite frankly, a lot of choices, but a lot of challenges in finding out what the best starting nine is going to look like on a day-to-day basis. And that's why, again, with Herrera picking up a glove and playing left field, gets you another bat in the lineup, gets him in a position where he can't catch and doesn't catch because they don't want him to do that with the leg problems he's had. It just gives you a few more options, which at times it seems like the Cardinals' hands have been tied. And so I don't know what they're going to do position player-wise at the deadline. And I've always said I have a rule with every general manager I've worked. I don't tell him how to make the trades, and he doesn't tell me what to say on the air. But I think that if there's the right offer, I think anybody on this team would be someone the Cardinals would and probably should look at if it makes the team better and increases the depth, not just the rest of this year, but for the next couple of years, because that's really got to change. That's really got to be improved because, 3 years into this retool, reset, whatever you want to call it, there isn't a lot of depth in position players because most of them are here. And certainly on the pitching side, and some of that's bad luck with injuries. So that's got to change. And the only way to do that maybe making a deal you don't really want to make, but you may have to. We'll see.
Well, we talk about all these different left fielders and second basemen and the logjam and something like this. One of the big discussions is always about players' versatility. And I know at times this year the Cardinals have wanted to keep Brendan Donovan at second base instead of moving into left field and things like that. Now we have Ivan Herrera trying to play left field, and they put him back at DH. Do you think it makes sense? Do you think there's an argument to be made of keeping guys like Herrera and Donnie in one spot to make sure their bats just solidified?
I mean, you can make that case, but again, the problem is, what do you do when JJ Wetherholt gets here? Where does he play? Right? You've got Dorman, you've got Brendan Donovan, you've got Mason Wynn, you've got Thomas J. Where do these guys play? You have too many players with similar skill sets, and by similar, I use that term broadly, who play the same spot. At some point, you've got to clear the logjam, and you've got to pick who's the wheat, who's the chaff, and use the guys that you have to go get things that you don't have. We all know the Cardinals are going to have a real starting pitching issue going into next season. You're not going to have Michaelis. You don't have Fetty. You assume that McGreevy, Libator, and Sonny Gray are your top three guys. Palante, will he stay in the rotation? Don't know. Kyle Leahy has the stuff in the repertoire to maybe become a starter, but that's something that has to be worked on or talked about in the offseason. But they don't have much depth behind those five guys because of the injuries I talked about. And the way that you can go get those guys is trade your most valuable assets to get from teams trying to win a World Series to fill the needs that you have, not just now, but for the next couple of years.
Are you a seafood guy when you go to San Diego?
Sometimes, yeah, it depends. As you know, we're stuck because we go to the ballpark and it's 4 o'clock. You get to eat delicious ballpark food every single day for 162 games. It's not the best thing for the waistline, but yeah, the fish tacos at San Diego at Petco Park are awesome. I'll probably have a couple of rounds of those.
There is a great place. The best shrimp salad I've ever had is at Point Loma Seafood. Great place for lunch, outdoor patio. The weather's going to be sensational.
Yep.
So remember the Point Loma Seafood Cafe.
I will do it. My daughter went to the University of San Diego. She's a Torero graduate. She knows all about those places. So my credit card is screaming already, knowing about the big lunches I'm going to have to pay when I see her out there tomorrow.
While we're talking about food, one of the things hit from the broadcast where apparently you don't like the buffalo wings. You like a dry wing. I gotta get the rationale and the explanation on that one, Chip.
They're just messy, and I'm a messy eater. I don't need any help splattering stuff all over my shirt. I like the dry wings, and I like to control my own amount of sauce on the wing. I like to taste the chicken. I don't like to taste just the sauce. And sometimes when you get those things, you end up looking like a finger painter when you're done. And that's just kind of gross. That's just my own personal thing. But I like all the sauces. I'll eat them, but I don't like them coated with it. Just you pick them up and it's like melted ice cream. That's a bridge too far for me.
All right.
Fenton Bar and Grill in Fenton. Someday off. One of your days off, we're going to the Fenton Bar and Grill, and you're going to have the best trash wings in St. Louis.
I love it. That would be a treat. I love them. Trash wings are awesome.
All right, my man. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Have fun tonight. And you get kind of a most of a day home tomorrow? What time do you guys fly tomorrow? About 2
No,
or
we're
so?
flying tonight, actually. We're leaving
Oh,
tonight.
okay.
Yeah, we're leaving after the game. So it'll be a late night, but that gets everybody into San Diego. I'm assuming around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock local time. And then we get to enjoy the off day out west, which it comes at a perfect time. The weather, as you know, has been brutal here. And from what I'm seeing out west, temperatures should be in the mid to high 70s, which I hope will refresh everybody after this amazing run of hot weather. And again, thanks to the fans who are showing up. It is not easy for them sitting down there at Busch Stadium with heat indexes in the 110s, but they're there. We love it. We appreciate it. And we really appreciate the support.
All right. And we appreciate you, Chip. Thanks so much for the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great, guys. Have a great week.
All right, brother. You too.
Have a good
Take
one,
care.
Chip. Thank you.
That is the voice of the Cardinals on